65 here this afternoon, this evening. Headlined, of course, by the Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour and their 125-lap feature event. Of course, I'm Tony Stevens up here, joined with a different face and voice today, Tyler Williams. And as always, Lenny Baticki patrolling pit road, getting all the extra and fun stories to see what happens down on the pit lane. And Tyler, one thing we have seen so far here today is there are no sure bets at Caraway. Looking at practice times, a number of surprises in the top 10 in the combined practice sheet.
It's been pretty interesting to see whenever we've gone up and down the pit road talking to drivers and teams and whatnot. It's been wild to see, you go up and talk to driver A, driver B. Hey, how's it going? Well, we're not really sure. For a lot of these drivers, it's their first time here to Caraway Speedway, and it's a pretty interesting track, Tony. It's got long straightaways. It's almost a full half mile in distance, but the corners, it seems like you're in the corners, turns 1 and 2 and turns 3 and 4. You're in them for so long. Corner rotation going to be extra critical here today at Caraway Speedway. But I tell you what, one of the best things about being at Caraway Speedway, you are going to hear these motors eat at the end of the straightaways, especially here in qualifying. These guys are going to be full song as we get qualifying underway here for the Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour. As we get first car up onto the speedway, it will be the Manassas, Virginia native Mason Diaz who will kick us off.
Mason Diaz had a great run going at Orange County Speedway a few weeks ago and had some misfortune bring him and his day pretty much up in smoke ultimately as he works his way off turn number 4 this time by. Tyler, he will see the green flag to start his qualification effort. Each one of these drivers will receive a dead lap, as we refer to it, a lap that does not count as he spills onto the back straightaway on the first of his 2 timed laps.
It's really been interesting to see as Mason is progressing in his racing career, completing his first lap of qualifications. He's doing a lot of racing this year, but glad to see him making time to run here with the Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour.
First lap for Mason Diaz, 16:971. 16:971. That is the fastest lap today by anybody in the pits in a late model stock car by 0.2 or so. And second lap slightly slower for Mason Diaz, so perhaps maybe a sign of things to come, or maybe they found something between practice and qualifying. Mason Diaz, a half second, actually more than a half second faster roughly than he was on his practice run earlier this afternoon. Well, on track now, another driver out of Manassas, Virginia. No, it's not the Manassas, Virginia Tour, I promise you. But this is Minnie Terrell as he works his way over in turn number 4. And Tyler, we see that car up the racetrack. He's had the left side, or the wheels cranked all the way to the left. It's almost like he was trying to work some heat in those tires or something.
Trying to get something here. It's so funky with this dead lap stuff because normally at Caraway Speedway and most touring series that come here, you're coming to the green. So with the Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour giving you that dead lap, it just kind of looks funky. The visual's a little bit funky, but Minnie, one of those guys that really just trying to get a handle on this place. They've got curbs and stuff in the corners that you'll see as the guys work through, and it can make for a good aiming point for these guys, but it can also kind of be a telltale sign of just how well your car is working by how well you can hold the curb with your left side tires.
Absolutely, and first lap for Minnie Terrell is faster than Diaz. So Terrell now on the provisional Hedgecock Racing pole position with a 16.949 second lap, 16.949. Lap 2 for Terrell is slightly slower, so first lap will be the lap of record for Minnie Terrell at a 16.949. That is just 22 one-thousandths of a second faster than Mason Diaz here this afternoon. On track now, originally hailing out of Delphi, Indiana, and spending lots of time in the Carolinas in the Triple R Racing, number 81. This is RNS Race Cars rookie contender Sam Butler.
I tell you what, Sam could use any kind of good news after that last race at A Speedway just a couple of weeks ago. Tony had a wreck with the primary car, had to bring the backup car out just to make the show and make some laps at A Speedway. I know he had a pretty tough weekend down there in Altamont Hall, so his team looking for anything positive here at Caraway Speedway. This first lap's going to leave something to be desired to a 17.063. That's going to be slowest of the 3 that have made a lap.
Yeah, he only needs about a tenth, though, to put it on the front row, so he doesn't need a whole lot. Let's see what he can do here on lap number 2 as he makes his way down the front stretch. And lap 2, as has been the trend, slower for Sam Butler. His by about a tenth and a half That's the biggest fall off we have seen, but it is slower, no less. So the theme of the session seems to be second lap is slower. The first lap is your money lap.
Absolutely. It's odd to see that, though. It seems like normally at a short track in America anywhere, that first lap, I'm kind of good, but I'm really juicing up for that second lap. But I think that dead lap is what really makes that difference as we see Jonathan Schaefer with his Camry on track now to qualify.
Yeah, Schaefer, I talked to him yesterday, Tyler. He said this place it's a bear. He said, I don't feel like the front end's doing what I want it to do. I feel like the brakes have had issues. He's been all kinds of spun out, and I talked to his car owner, Lee Pulliam, and said, yeah, he's gonna have a rude awakening because Caraway is not an easy racetrack to get a hold of. And lap number 1 for Jonathan Schaefer, he's done a pretty decent job getting a hold of it. Third fastest overall to 16.988. 16.988. He just needs a couple hundredths, and he could have it on the provisional pole for the Hedgecock Racing pole position. And lap 2, Tyler, is faster. He moves up to P2.
So he breaks the trend there. But I tell you, one of the big things I saw a lot of these drivers doing during in between time between the last practice and this qualifying session, a lot of guys making changes on their gear selection just to try to let that motor eat just as much as it can on these long straightaways here at Caraway Speedway. But part of that also means you get bogged down a little bit when you come off the corner and you're trying to get back to the gas. So what do you kind of trade? Do you trade the quick acceleration, or do you trade the top end speed where it takes you a little more time to get up and going? And this guy on the track now, plenty of experience here at Caraway Speedway. He has been here in a super late model. He has also ran here in a tour type modified with the Smart Modified Tour. This is Jared Fryer on Speedway, and he's going to show that experience. Lap 1 is P1, 16.886 for Fryer.
Solid run for Jared Fryer, and let's see what he can do on lap number 2. Jared, as much as he's from Trinity, North Carolina, which is not far away from here, he hasn't raced here a whole lot, believe it or not, but he said this one's important because it is his home racetrack for the driver out of Trinity. Defending series champion has it on the provisional Hedgecock Racing pole position. Next up on the Speedway out of Oak Ridge, North Carolina, in the second Lee Pulliam Performance automobile, this a Chevrolet for Brandon Pierce out of Oak Ridge, North Carolina. And Brandon off turn number 4 will now see the green flag on his qualifying attempt.
It is quite funny, Tony, how many of these drivers that have ran and have a lot of late model experience here in the Piedmont area of the state of North Carolina that have never ran at this place. It does run weekly racing and whatnot, but most of the touring series that come here are usually modified centered. There's not been a lot of late model racing touring series that have come through this racetrack. Hence, it's our first time here with the Cars Tour.
Last one I'm aware of was back when UARE came here in about 2013. It's been quite a while. And first lap for Brandon Pierce, 5th fastest overall, 17.062. 17.062. He looks to improve on lap 2, and he does, but not by much. 16.971 matches the fast lap by Mason Diaz. So the entire field right now, Tyler, almost separated by just a tenth of a second, as a little bit of a surprise this weekend. Driver number 88 this week is Josh Berry out of Hendersonville, Tennessee. So Berry now on track as he will come to the green flag.
I tell you what, it has been really something to see just how much attention Josh Berry has been getting lately. Of course, winning in the Xfinity Series will do something for you, do some of that for you, but he's also getting a chance with the Cup ride and whatnot due to some things over at Spire Motorsports. But just good to see it because Josh he's really worked hard for a lot of these opportunities, and it's pretty cool to kind of see it pay off for him.
Yeah, and he's not going to like that first lap. It is 6th fastest overall for Josh Berry. P6 is a 16.978. Again, if he can get another tenth out of it, it would put it on the pole for him as he works his way off turn 4. And lap 2 is quicker, up to 3rd for Josh Berry to 16.953. So while he cools down, the next car is on track. Let's head down to Lenny Baticki.
I'm alongside of Jared Fryer. Jared, lap was really fast to us. How was it to you? Do you think it'll hold up?
Yeah, it felt really good. I was very surprised that I think it'll hold up. I mean, what we saw in practice, I didn't have that qualifying speed like I thought I was going to have right there, but it was really good there. So we'll see. Everything's been clicking real good this weekend, so hopefully we can keep it going and pick us off a win here. It feels good to be back at my home track, so that's definitely a huge relief. So to get a win here would be huge tonight.
Jared Fryer coming off of a $5,000 payday over at Carteret. Back to you.
Thank you, Lenny. Is on track now. Coy Beard out of Greensboro, North Carolina. One of the hometown heroes entered in this one, the David Performance Chevrolet. His first lap, Tyler, 7th fastest overall. And Coy was in the top 10 in the combined practice speeds today. Let's see what he can do on lap 2. P2 for Coy Beard. What a run by Coy Beard as we're about a third of the way through this session. 2nd fastest overall for the driver out of Greensboro, North Carolina. Oh boy, Greensboro, Lexington, wherever he calls home. I've seen both this week, but nonetheless, he's going to be happy. That's all that's going to matter for him. What a run by a guy that was stoked to be here, and as he said, run with the best in the country and see what he's got. So far, he's got a lot.
And he's a guy that he's really worked himself up, Tony. I remember announcing races just 3 or 4 years ago where Coy was running a 602 limited late model. Has kind of really worked his way up by what he could afford slowly but surely. But that's really good to see. But I tell you what, keep your eye on this 99. Lane Riggs, always going to be one to watch out for on the speed chart. And I got to tell you, that driver, he's got a little pep in his step when he's just walking around pit road. You didn't even have to talk to him. You could just tell how he was feeling.
Yeah, he kind of missed turn 1, it looked like, down there, Tyler, unless he's trying to be higher up the racetrack. Let's see what the stopwatch says on lap number 1 for Lane Riggs. Oh, it's not pretty. 17:061. That is 8th fastest out of 9 drivers who've made an attempt thus far. Lane said yesterday the car reminds him of how good it was at Ace, and he didn't want to touch it. Well, he might want to have touched it if this lap does not come in where he wants it. Lap number 2 for Lane Riggs. Ew. 16:993. 16:993. That is 8th fastest of 9 drivers. Again, the entire field right now separated by about 1/10 and a half, with 9 cars having taken a time.
With that much difference, Tony, he probably just blinked the wrong way. But it looks like down trackside, Lenny Baticki's got something for us.
Coy Beard, that was a fast lap. How did you get all that speed out of it?
Man, it's my team, man. We've worked hard the last couple of days and just really excited. Got a really good pace and ready to get going here for tonight.
Coy Beard, short answer, but a quick race car. That's all we needed. Back to you.
Thank you, Lenny, as we watch the HarrisonsWorkwear.com Chevrolet of Mike Looney on track for his first of 2 timed laps. And first one on the board for Catawba, Virginia's Mike Looney. It's a good one. Tyler, P2 on lap 1.
I tell you what, I've probably gotten the most questions when I told somebody I was going down here to Caraway Speedway for the car store. They almost everyone to a T. Is Looney going to be there? He missed the A Speedway race. They couldn't get the car back together in time. It looks like they put it back together just fine. He is P1 on the speed chart, a 16.747. Not a bad put-together job there.
Not a bad put-together job at all to put it on the provisional Hedgecock pole for the HarrisonsWorkwear.com driver, Mike Looney. A little bit of news here from this kid out of Fredericksburg, Virginia. You notice he's not in his traditional number 14, Tyler. He is in the GMS Racing colors. Driver number 21 this week is Connor Jones as he comes off of turn number 4. Ran the ARCA race for GMS at Nashville a few weeks ago after the Ace race, and apparently liked the program and liked what was going on, and they said, let's go to Caraway together, and they figured it all out and made it happen.
Well, it's been a solid program, whether it's been late model stock or the super late models. They've always at least got their drivers in the ballpark and at least in a decent position where they can put it in the top 5 and contend for wins.
That they can, as we try to see Connor Jones working his way down the back straightaway. Hasn't yet cracked the top 10, has Connor Jones. First lap was 11th fastest overall. Second trip around for Connor Jones. And waiting on scoring to update with that one. We'll get it momentarily, but Connor Jones looks like maybe a little bit slower. He gets up to 10th, I should say, so a little bit faster, but not by much. So Jones up to P10 after 11 cars have taken a time.
Pretty cool here. Daniel Silvestri out on the racetrack right now out of Great Falls, Virginia in this number 97. And while Daniel himself does not have a lot of experience here at this Caraway Speedway, I believe it's his first time here, his crew chief, Thomas Scott, has plenty of experience here at Caraway Speedway running his late model stock from time to time. His dad, Jerry Scott, down there in the pits, as well as the 97 out of the Sellers Racing stable, Daniel Silvestri out to take time. First lap coming across for Daniel. He is going to clock in at 9th quick at a 16.971.
field exceptionally tight, Tyler, from second on back, all separated by just about a tenth. You see him graze that curb on exit of turn number 4, and Silvestri on lap number 2 puts it up to P3 for Daniel Silvestri. So good job, Daniel Silvestri. Graduated high school yesterday, declared he was going to Virginia Tech earlier, and now puts it in the top 5 in Hedgecock Racing qualifying. Not a bad day for one Daniel Silvestri.
I was about to say, pretty good start to the weekend here as now Jonathan Finley will take his cuts against the Caraway Speedway here, the native of Bristow, Virginia, driving his family-owned number 4 with the Solid Rock Carrier sponsorship on the side. One of so many drivers trying to figure out this Caraway Speedway. I saw saw Mr. Finley earlier in practice. Sorry, so many Jonathan's getting mixed up, but he was having a little bit of trouble trying to get that thing to settle through the corner, at least in practice.
Yeah, and you want to make sure that thing is settled here. The corners, although they're not long, are exceptionally important. In lap 1, 13th fastest. He looks to improve on that. All he needs is about 2/10 to put it on the front row. Can he do it on lap number 2? Survey says he cannot. Picks it up slightly, but not by much, at a 17.065 for Jonathan Finley. 13th out of 13 cars for tonight's 22 cars starting lineup. Speaking of 22 cars, the 22 car is on track. Winner earlier this year at the Hickory Motor Speedway in the Autos by Nelson ride from Kernersville, North Carolina. This is 2-time series champion Bobby McCarty.
And the current points leader bringing a slim 11 here at Caraway Speedway as he comes down to complete his first lap of qualifying. Looks like it's pretty good. It bounced up to P2 on the board for Bobby.
Yeah, P2, but he needs a 10th to put it on the Hedgecock Racing pole as he makes his way to turns 3 and 4. What can Bobby McCarty pull out of the hat? The wand is waving. Does he grab the rabbit? He does not. He picks it up, but only a little bit. Still, P2. And while he cools down, let's head down to Lenny.
Daniel Silvestri checking that time out. You dropped a spot with him going out there, but man, what a run. The last time we saw this car was totally destroyed. How do you get that much speed out of a rebuilt car?
Man, it's hard work and dedication. I can't say enough about the Sellers Racing team and all my supporters. They tried so hard. We've been working really hard. Once after the race, after the trouble at the Ace race, that Saturday we tore the whole car apart. We got it back to Hedgecock. He builds a great race car, and we got it ready to go, and we got some speed in it, and I'm happy with it. We haven't been qualifying as well as we have been wanted to, and we know this is a great run for us. I'm excited. We've needed track position to run well, and we've had fast race cars. We just need to start up front, and I think that lap's going to start us towards the front really well.
So here's the sponsor pitch. If you end up on the podium and you get a big check, what currency?
We're putting it in Bitcoin. I mean, it's going to.
There you go. That's all I wanted to say. Back to you.
Thanks, Lenny. As Jason York, lap number 2, not quick enough compared to his first, but Jason York, what a showing for the local hometown heroes, Tyler. Yep. Jason York puts it 4th fastest out of 15 cars. The hometown heroes came to play here at Caraway.
Hey, Jason York's no slouch. The Reedsville Rocket, former Martinsville Speedway late model stock winner. He is definitely going to be one to keep an eye on, especially since this is such a long race. He's going to definitely have the experience to contend as Joe Valento makes his way out on the racetrack. Yeah,
Valento, driver out of Minnesota, running the tour this year with David Gilliland Racing. DGR already picking up a win earlier today, and if I ruined your DVR, I'm sorry. But Todd Gilliland, who won the inaugural late model stock race for the Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour, picked up the win at COTA earlier this afternoon. DGR looking to do the same thing, and Valento going to need some speed here on lap 2, Tyler. His first lap, good for 16th of 16 at a 17.078.
I tell you what, he showed me a lot at the Ace Speedway race with just not giving up, staying in the fight even though things weren't quite going his way. In his second lap, he picks up to 7th fastest at a 16.922. That is probably the biggest pickup over the scoreboard that we have seen in qualifying so far.
It was only a 10th.
Well, yeah, but I mean, on the track position, he went from 16th all the way up to 7th. That is what a jump.
It goes to show you just how tight the Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour is when you can go from last to in the top 10 with just a 1/10 of a second improvement on a qualification lap. And this driver, according to some of the team, in fact, his car owner, Justin Johnson, told me earlier today, he said, Caden's probably got the best car here. Well, we'll see how accurate he is as he is in the GXS wraps. Per your Tank Lines ride, making his way off of turn number 4. Driver out of Aledo, Texas, and lap number 1 for Caden Honeycutt. Solid. It is 8th fastest overall, 16.941. 2/10 would put him on the provisional pole.
So you can find it down there in turns 3 and 4. You see him, he kind of pitches the nose there coming off the corner. See if that was enough to get him up there. Oh, good run. 3rd fastest for Honeycutt, 16.834.
And I'm wondering, it seems like the sun is kind of going behind a cloud or something here a little bit. I wonder how much that is affecting the racetrack, maybe contributing to some of these times. We will find out, possibly, from some of these drivers. Meanwhile, the guy that seems to be everybody's, I don't want to say their hero, but kind of their, what's the word I'm looking for? Their emotional pick, their sentimental pick, Deke McCaskill out of Raleigh, North Carolina. On track now, former series champion. Came so close to a career win at Orange County with 30 grand, one spot short. Still looking for a win. It's been almost 2 years since he went to Victory Lane.
You know what, Tony? He's kind of one of those guys that if you find somebody that has something bad to say about Deke McCaskill, I mean, they're kind of like an endangered species. You're not going to see a whole lot of them there. That he's going to need a pickup here on his second lap. First lap, 14th quick at a 16.980. So Deke looking for a little bit of help here. It won't take much to get him up toward the top of the speed chart, but he needs just a little bit here on the second lap.
That he does, and he gets a little bit up to 9th fastest, 16.939. 16.939 puts Deke McCaskill 9th quick out of 18 cars that have taken a time thus far. Next up on the Speedway, one of the, again, hometown heroes trying to make something happen here. This is Winston-Salem's Dylan Ward in the number 7 car, 5th fastest in combined practice earlier today. What does he have to take a stab at the Hedgecock pole?
I'll tell you what, I'm anxious to learn about it like anybody else is. I tried to go talk to Dylan in between the practice sessions and qualifying to ask how he was, and he was holding his cards pretty close to the vest. He would not let on with a whole lot of excitement or anticipation, so I'll be interested to see. He's 7th fastest on first lap, 16.910.
7th fastest for Dylan Ward, and we'll let him finish this lap as he heads his way into turns 3 and 4. What can Dylan Ward pull out of the magician's hat? Survey says up to P2 for Dylan Ward. What a run for the driver number 7. Dylan Ward's going to have a shot at this one tonight, no doubt, as we head down to Lenny Baticki.
Well, we're all checking out Race Monitor and looking to where Caden is at this point. They're already watching in Texas. Tell them how you were able to go so fast.
Well, we kind of struggled in practice right at the very end, so we just kind of took our Louisville Slugger 34-inch bat and hit for the fences. But I think it'll be good. I think we're just a smidge tight there, so probably could have had a better air pressure split, but I think it was good.
How did the cooler temperature, it's like 5 degrees cooler, maybe more, how did that affect your car?
You know, it kind of gave it grip. We didn't expect the track to go this fast, but, you know, I saw the first lap time, so I was like, okay, well, it's pretty fast, so just drive the heck out of it and see what it had, and I think it's going to be really good for race time.
A lot of us been waiting for this guy to come loose, and he's there. Caden Honeycutt, one of the top 5 right now. Back to you.
Thank you, Lenny, as Sam Yarbrough is on track. His first lap, 18th fastest, but who cares? He's up to P5 on lap number 2, 16.851. 16.851, P5 for Sam Yarbrough. Where did that come from, Tyler? Combined practice speeds, he was near the bottom of the list. Goes to show you they don't pay for practice for a reason.
I think the track is definitely speeding up, though, Tony. Just looking at some of these average times of these guys as they're coming across as we are now, a little bit in the shade, the temperature dropping just a little bit, and as just as edge as these cars are in qualifying, it does not take a whole lot, as now we see Justin Johnson make his way out on the racetrack in the R&S Race Cars house car.
Yeah, and Justin, pretty stoked about his race car as well, but he said, I've never really been here, or if I have, it's been forever. I can't remember. So lap number 1 for Justin Johnson is 15th fastest overall to 16.969. And I continue to look through here, Tyler. They're all 16.8s and 16.9s. A 10th would put Justin Johnson into position number 5. Can he pull it out of the hat as well? The magic has been everywhere here on Caraway Mountain, and he cannot. Lap 2 is slower for Justin Johnson. So the winner at Dillon to open the year are going to have to come from deep in the field. As we want to say hi to some folks watching on social. Tracy Dunn's watching from Roxborough. Hank Dunbar says good luck to Josh Berry. Terry Haley says good luck to Lee Poyen Performance and Nelson Motorsports. He's over by the coast in Charlotte, North Carolina. And folks, tell us where you're watching from, who you are cheering for, on whichever one of our partners' broadcasts you are watching from, as we are watching Trevor Ward now make his qualification attempt in the Ward Performance number 77.
Yeah, Trevor, the younger of the two Ward brothers racing here tonight, just like they both did at Ace Speedway just a couple of weeks ago. Both guys with a bit of experience here at Caraway Speedway, dealing a little bit more than Trevor, and he's going to need a pick-me-up. 18th quick on the first lap, a 16.989. We'll see, can he knock Mike Looney off that provisional pole? Looney's been holding that top spot for some time.
He's going to need something. Here he comes. Final car to make an attempt. Can the Wards do it? No, but he does pick up to 11th, does Trevor Ward, at a 16.937. So what a run by both Ward brothers. Nearly got them both in the top 10 as we head down yet again to PRN at the tracks. Lenny Baticki.
Well, Harrison's workwear is on Mike Looney's car. Mr. Harrison, how proud are you to be on the pole-sitting race car?
Well, it feels good. We're hoping we're going to have some good luck tonight. These boys sure do work hard.
Where can folks get them Carhartt jeans?
Harrison'sWorkwear.com, and you can find all our locations. We're getting ready to open one in Mooresville 3 weeks from this coming Monday.
Man, can't wait for that one. But how about the guy that got the job done for his sponsor, Harrison'sWorkwear.com? Mike Looney took a week off, and now you're the quickest. How'd you make it all happen?
Well, sometimes a week off's what you need to get your stuff back together. These guys work really, really hard. I can't say enough about Billy Martin Racing. These guys, they don't get paid a dime. They work their guts out for me. They're just really blessed to be an opportunity, being really good equipment. Harrison's Workwear on the quarter panel. Harrison's Public Safety. Check those people out. They fix you up with anything you need. Got to thank Hopkins Lumber, A1 Heating and Cooling, Velocity. A lot of folks have a hand in what we're doing. And how about that Reynolds chassis and a Charlie Long engine? Pretty potent combination. Just really blessed to get to hold the steering wheel.
A lot of people have their hand in it, but it's that foot right there that gets the job done. Going fast. Mike Looney, your pole sitter. Back up to you, Tony.
Thank you very much, Lenny. And Mike Looney, what a comeback, potentially. He had to drive through the field at Hickory, Tyler, to get to the front. And he told us yesterday, he said, I don't like this whole patience thing, but I got to be more patient. Well, starting on pole makes it a lot easier. By the way, if you're watching on social and you want a discount, you like discounts, don't you?
I love discounts.
I love
discounts.
I'm
a cheapskate. I want a
Go
discount.
to harrisonsworkwear.com and use the code CARS10, CARS10, and you get a discount from harrisonsworkwear.com just for being a Car Store fan. So check that out. You can go check it out. Like you said, they got Carhartt, they got pants, they got shirts, they got everything. And so check them out. Brand new store opening in 3 weeks in Mooresville. That's like their 7th or 8th or 9th store, I think. They've got a bunch of them. But check them out at harrisonsworkwear.com. Rundown for those of you here in the stands to let you know where your favorite driver is starting. Mike Looney on the pole. And where are the Dylan Ward fans? Any Dylan Ward? Oh, yes, there's a few for sure. He will start second tonight. Bobby McCarty third. Caden Honeycutt fourth. Sam Yarbrough fifth. Then comes Jared Fryer in 6th, Jason York 7th, Daniel Silvestri runs 8th, Coy Beard, all the hometown heroes inside the top 10, and Joe Valento, Tyler, going to start this one outside row 5.
Rounding out the rest of the field, Trevor Ward 11th fastest, Deke McCaskill rounds out the top dozen on the speeds. 13th fastest was Minnie Terrell. Josh Berry down all the way in 14th. It'll be interesting to see what he can do. 15th was Jonathan Schaefer. Justin Johnson down in 16th. Mason Diaz 17th. Brandon Pierce qualifies 18th. Lane Riggs all the way down in 19th. Not far off on the speed chart. I mean, he was only 2/10 off, but 2/10 puts you in 19th. Connor Jones rounds out the top 20. Sam Butler qualifies 21st, and Jonathan Finley will have to climb out of the cellar. He is 22nd and last in speed.
The back half of this field would be a top-tier feature at any event elsewhere in the country. Look at that. McCaskill, Berry, Riggs, Diaz, Pierce, Joe, they're all going to come from the back, and there's a lot of good cars up front, too. This is going to be one humdinger race. If you're watching on social, make sure you head on over. Airtime on the air will be on in about, 25 minutes or so. 6:14 p.m. it is now. We'll be on at 6:40 p.m. on carstour.tv. So if you like what you see, head on over, and we'll catch you on the flip side at www.carstour.tv.